So I met you by the coffee machine.
Yes.
And you said, oh my God, I have a great long shot tip, didn't you?
I do, but the odds are going down fast. The odds are going down fast, which I guess you can reframe that and say that's good that people, other handicappers see what you see in this long shot. I guess you'd rather your long shot go from 15-1 to 10-1 to 8-1 rather than 15-1 to 25-1.
Oh, right, because then you're like, I'm going to pull myself down. Look, I'm like way bigger than you. You look really small.
Yes, I feel small.
No, I know, but because it's my seat. Look, watch.
Oh, perfect. Perfect.
Oh, there we go.
That's the magic of
TV. Level play.
Well, I'm very excited to be on Sports Dead Daily. Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you for coming. And okay, so this is the third of the Triple Crown. Obviously, there's three of them. The Belmont Stakes.
Yes.
The steak is in like a steak rather than something you eat.
Yes. Yeah. Good work.
Yep. Thank you. Yeah. And so obviously two different. The first one we watched together, and that was quite controversial, wasn't it?
Then very controversial, and that's taken a lot of buzz away from the Triple Crown. A lot of people lost money on maximum security and felt that a lot of people were very upset. It was a very controversial decision, and that's taken a lot of the luster out of the Triple Crown. That horse, Maximum Security, who probably is the best 3-year-old in the nation, didn't run in the Preakness and is not running here in the Belmont, and we only have one horse, the horse that was impeded by Maximum Security, the most impeded by Maximum Security in the Kentucky Derby, who then ran in the Preakness and is running in the Belmont. So only one horse is running in all 3 jewels of the Triple Crown.
Oh, okay. And so who do you think is going to win this time? Win the race?
Well, I have a long shot that I like, but to sort of discuss a race like this, it's better to kind of just break down some of the moving parts.
Like how you got to your conclusion.
Well, that would take maybe too long here, but there's a lot of moving parts to this race. And first off, the track, it's a mile and a half. A mile and a half long race on dirt. Then you have to look at the 2 big favorites. And the biggest favorite is Tacitus. Tacitus came 4th in the Kentucky Derby, was moved up to 3rd after the disqualification. Tacitus has the most incredible connections you could have as a horse. He's a Juddmonte Farms horse. Juddmonte Farms have had 3 horses run in the Belmont Stakes. No one's come worse than 3rd. They won it with Empire Maker in 2003. His father, Tapit's sons have won 3 of the last 5 Belmont Stakes. Tapit has 3 sons in this race, and Tacitus is the big favorite of them all. So here's this horse with unbelievable connections, and he skipped the Preakness. So traditionally, horses that have run very well in the Derby who skip the Preakness are ready to fire. They have an advantage in the Belmont because they're rested, whereas War of Will, who is the second favorite at 2-1, is not rested.
He ran in the last match.
He won it. He won the Preakness Stakes after being blocked or impeded by Maximum Security in the Derby. So then let's go to War of Will. So then you have War of Will at 2-1. And something that my dad taught me when I was a kid was fade every horse that's run in the first 2 jewels of the Triple Crown in the Belmont. Always fade them. And always fade the horse that's going for the Triple Crown. Always do that because it's extremely difficult to run 3 races, 3 taxing, demanding races in 5 weeks. It's just such a difficult task. And War of Will is a son of Warfront, and he's a fighter. He's a very tough horse. And he's capable of winning this race. So if you take these 2 favorites, and one of them being Tacitus, so 42% of the time, in 150 runnings, 63 times of 150 races, the favorite has won the Belmont Stakes.
Okay.
That's a pretty high percentage.
Yeah.
But only 3 times in the last 15 years. Only 3 times in the last 15 years. And then we move to War of Will. The winner of the Preakness has gone on to win the Belmont Stakes 3 times in the last 17 years. And 2 of them were Triple Crown champions, Hall of Fame, the best in the world ever, American Pharaoh and Justify. Do we put War of Will in that group? Those 2 statistics alone gave me the confidence to fade the big favorites and go for a big score. So that was the reasoning behind, what. And then the second reasoning of fading Tacitus is that he's won the Wood Memorial, he's won the Tampa Bay Derby, and he came 3rd in the Kentucky Derby. All 3 of those races had one thing in common, and that was fast half miles. Tacitus comes off the pace, Those half miles were run in 45 and 4, 46 and 2, and 46 and 3. Very fast half miles. That's not going to happen at the Belmont Stakes. It's going to be a 49-second half, which means these horses that come from way back are going to have great difficulty doing it. Another big thing about the Belmont is that if you look traditionally back, even just like the last 7 or 8 years, only 1 year did a horse come from way back to win the race. Every single year other than this 1 year, the horse that won the race was within a length or a length and a half at the mile mark. So the horse that won this race was up on the pace. That, again, gives me more confidence to fade Tacitus, this extremely spectacular horse. So getting around all of that, I look for a horse that's going to be right on the pace, and it's going to be a slow pace. The horse that's going to take the places, run the pace, is a horse named Joevia, and Joevia, long shot, is going to go right to the pace, but he's not that fast. I expect a 48 and 4 half, a 49-second half, and my horse, Spinoff, will be right on that pace and can pounce and win this race. Morning line 15-1. It's gone down to 10-1 and 8-1 in some books. I still think a ton of money is going to come in on Tacitus and War of Will. So hopefully it'll come maybe back up.
Yeah. But you've already got the ticket, right? So
No.
Oh, you're waiting for the prize.
No, I don't wait. I use my horse account, my HBI account, so I get what the track is offering. Now, a lot of people think that's a mistake, but depending on what book, when you take a horse early, about 24 hours to 48 hours, they say that the bet will be voided if your horse doesn't start. I mean, there's a lot of things that go on in the next 24 hours. Like, I need to know that my horse is sound and healthy and feeling good. The trainer.
How will you know this?
From the trainer. The trainer.
They'll give like a report.
Yes.
But do they not give like? Because sometimes like they'll say like, oh, you know, or have like they're not going to give like some like pretend like white lie information, you know, to like fool people if you say, oh yeah, the horse is not doing so well, you know, because they want to make the other horses think that they can win, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I mean, not the other horses, but the other cappers or the
well, like, yeah, but I think it's like give them like, you know, false credit. They say like, oh yeah, my horse is not doing so good. So then the other rider's like, oh great, you know, that horse is not doing so well, so I'm going to win. But really, the horse is doing like really well.
That sort of thing happens in C tracks, in the small town tracks with small town prizes. Okay. But when we're talking about, you know, multi-million-dollar races, the horse that wins this race is going to be worth, you know, $20 to $50 million in the breeding shed.
Right.
So
yeah.
I don't think there will be that. If there's any question whether a horse is not sound, the trainer won't run them in a race of this stature. But yeah, I'm on Spinoff. Spinoff ran in the Kentucky Derby. He placed 17th. So he had been improving in perfect increments. His buyer had been improving 10 or 11 each time. So he ran in the Saratoga Special as a 2-year-old, came third with like a 75 buyer. Then he came in and ran in just an optional claimer in Tampa, and he won by 11 lengths with an 84 buyer. Then he runs in the Louisiana Derby, and it goes up again. It goes up 11. He comes second by 3/4 of length with a 95 buyer. A lot of people have been saying that the Louisiana Derby is not a respected prep race, and that's fine. That's fine. If he had continued improving in those increments, if he goes up another 10 in a buyer speed figure in this race, he wins this race. So the Kentucky Derby was run in the slop. As you know, we watched it together. It was run in the muck.
Yeah.
He did not like the footing. He started from a way outside gate. The fact that he ran so poorly is the reason why I'm given this big number to cash with. So I've made a simple bet. Well, I'm making a simple bet. I'm just going to take $100, go across the board. It's going to cost me $300. $100 to win, $100 to place, $100 to show.
All on Spinoff.
All on Spinoff. And the reason why I'm not going into the exotic market in exactors and trifectas is because there is such a high probability of Tacitus or War of Will being in the top 3 or being amongst the tickets that will bring that price down. So I feel like the most bang for my buck is focusing solely on Spinoff, the number 6 horse. And that is the plan.
Wow. I have to say, this is probably the most serious conversation we have ever had. I feel like this was like serious talk here. You were getting into business because you have been you've been sports betting since you were 5, haven't you? From the racetrack And
I was given $2 a race, $2 a race.
So this is, we're talking, this is like your real business right here. This is like your,
This means the most to me.
yeah, I can see this.
You know, when we were at the track, I was studying the form as a toddler, and my brother was looking for winning tickets on the ground. You know, there was a big difference.
Someone dropped it.
Well, that's because when everyone throws, they're losing tickets.
Oh.
So he would search through.
Oh.
Facts, you know, so you can tell who's the capper and who's the. I won't finish that sentence.
Now, all right. Before we wrap up, Dave bets, but I think I think I can answer this question here. He did say, obviously, it's actually about the Raptors game. He's asked who you were on, and I'm going to say, looking at your mighty fine cap here and knowing where you're from, I'm going to say you're on the Toronto Raptors.
This is a bet where I did lock in my odds. I did lock in at plus 175 on the money line with the Toronto Raptors. I think that we know that Klay Thompson is going to be back.
Exactly.
He's going to be defending the perimeter. I'm also on he's a great, the man's incredibly impressive offensively, but I think where he does his best work in a series like this is on the perimeter, defending the perimeter. But this is a situation where I think that I'm also on Kyle Lowry with over 10.5 rebounds and assists. Look, the Warriors have never been more vulnerable, ever. The Warriors have never been more vulnerable. Even when they didn't win the championship against the Cavs, they were not. This is the most vulnerable we've ever seen them. If they were completely healthy, maybe they sweep the Raptors. But no need for those thoughts. Raptors are in business here. Raptors are in business. I don't need the points.
And you're 2-1 right now.
We're up 2-1.
So Raptors is like a very good point. This is like the first time that they've been here, and they're playing against the other team, and they own it, don't they? They're like confident in the finals.
But
and
all of the stats, we should put a line through all of the previous stats because of the injuries.
Yeah.
You know, because last game, in game 3, there were more tickets on the Raptors than the Warriors. That had happened 18 times in the Steve Kerr era, where more tickets were on the opposing team than the Warriors. The Warriors were 18-0 in those situations and had covered the spread 15 of the 18 times, winning by an average of 8.6 points. Well, we beat them easily without a sweat. We dominated the entire game because of their injuries.
Yeah.
You know, they have 2 first ballot Hall of Famers out of the lineup in game 3. One's coming back in game 4. And Kevon Looney is their best big man. Now you have Boogie Cousins sweating buckets all over the floor. The guy's in terrible shape. Every time he gets up off the bench, there's this pool of ass sweat. The guy's in no way should this guy be playing 30 minutes. And then Andrew Bogut, who's a very skilled big man. He's old and he's slow. And we have the perfect guys in Serge Ibaka and Marc Gasol to take advantage of the situation. And Siakam, too, if we need, because Siakam, when we go small, we can move Siakam into the 4 and the 5 spots. And the Warriors are in big trouble. They're in grave danger.
Yes. But good news for you, though.
Very good news for me.
All right, so like in Toronto Raptors, and one final thing here. Where's me to bring up so I can say correctly? What about Klay over 17.5?
Well, one of the sharpest basketball cappers I know is on the Klay under 18 points. I would never put my money on a guy who we don't know if his hamstring's going to hold up. It's just he could come out of the gate scoring, looking incredible, and then his hamstring pulls. If you're going to put your hard-earned money on something, you can't put it on a body part that we don't know whether it's going to hold up or not. And that's his hamstring. So no, I would be, and even if he comes out and plays great, it's a very dangerous move to make, whether or not that hamstring holds up. So no, I know people who are taking the under with Klay, and he's going to be so important defensively on the perimeter. So no, I would not.
And you don't want to push it too much, will he? If it's his first outing, you've still got some more series games to go, don't you?
No, he has to push it right now.
Yeah?
He has to. So he has to go all in. So he's in a really tricky spot.
Yeah.
The Warriors are in a tricky spot.
And do the Raptors have the home advantage on this one?
No, it is in Oakland. This is in Oakland.
Oh, so you think we're going to win on the road?
Just like in Game 3, yes, I think we're going to win on the road. Now, it's going to be more difficult with Klay out there.
All
yeah.
right. Awesome stuff, Jimmy the Bag. So, thank you very much for your tips there.
Thank you.
In the
Belmont.
very serious tone.
Very serious when we're talking horse races. Belmont, spin-off.
Means business.
15-1 morning line. It's 12-1, 10-1, or 8-1 at different books. Spin-off gives us a ton of value. We lost in the Kentucky Derby with the disqualification. I lost the exactor by a taint hair when Everfast came second in front of my horse Owendale, which would have been another plus $1,000 score. I'm getting my plus $1,000 score here in the Belmont with spin-off.
And to end the show, Chance says, Jimmy sees it all. Yes, he does.
Wow.
Take that with you. Have a wonderful weekend. Yeah, very kind.